Welcome back here to Papua New Guinea. My name is Ryan. We're here in Denunga today. It's been like almost a year since I've been out here with you guys. But yeah, it's exciting. It's only 400 meters long, 10% slope, and beautiful view. So let's go ahead and get started. Head on back to Goroka. Sure, our fuel's on and low start. Over 14% NG. We'll introduce my fuel. I'm watching my oil pressures is starting to come up. Now I'm watching my NG. My fuel flow is coming up. Once I'm kind of over 35% NG, I'm looking at the ICT to see the rate of how fast it's going up, but I just did 649. We've got a 30-minute flight back to Goroka. We're at 5,000 feet now, and we'll be heading up to around 10,000 feet. And these mountains over here, I think are close to just a little bit shy of 9,000, so I've got to climb about 4,000 feet before I can even get out of this valley. Our fuel cap selectors are good. We'll turn our terrain awareness system off, our controls, switches and instruments. We're wanting to go back 10,000. We are 5,300 pounds, so we'll rotate at 54 and 62 if we had to come back in. Our flaps coming down to 20 degrees. We'll get our trims set up from here. We'll go full right rudder trim and then set up my elevator trim as well. We're going to be committed with wheel or with our brake release on this one just because it's a steep hill and it's so short. I'm not going to be able to stop otherwise unless it's like immediately like right within the first 10 feet. And because this is like kind of downhill and then it actually goes up a hill, like maybe 3 or maybe 4%, but I'm guessing probably about 3% up the hill. We're going to take off and then we're just going to follow the terrain out. So I look like I'm not climbing, but I'm just following the terrain as we go out. Windsock down there is showing absolutely nothing. After takeoff, we'll pitch for 85 knots, consider EPL, consider feather. We'll go to lowest terrain. We'll pitch for 85, then 80, cut off, pull off, and shut off emergency masters, and crack my door close to the ground. Ignition, inlet, and lights. Let's see if I can get a hold of Moresby. Moresby 6622, November Tango Echo, taxi. November Tango Echo, taxi, Denunga, Goroka, 1 POV. All stations Denunga 1239er, November Tango Echo, taxiing Denunga for Goroka, be on climb 10,000. Ignition condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. Checklist is complete. 1270 on the torque. And it's kind of muddy right here, so there's a good chance I'm going to just start sliding once I start going. Ignition condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses, 1270. Alright, there's brake release, we're continuing. Airspeed's alive, there's my 720, bump it up a little bit, and there's already airborne because I am empty. Eight knots of headwind, which is really helpful. And I'm going to see if I can do like one big loop around, big 360, and then head right over top of those mountains over there. So I'm going to get cleaned up because you actually get a better climb rate if you're cleaned up as far as like your best rate of climb. Over 80, 85 and climbing, we'll go 10 degrees of flaps. We'll go 0 and bring our pop to 2,000 RPM. And then my ITT is just going to slowly work its way down to 720 for this climb. And I'm going to pitch for 99 knots, which is my best rate of climb. Gives me the most amount of altitude and the shortest amount of time, not distance. And we'll go ahead and start cleaning up our airplane. I can feel the wind shear right at this level. The wind just doesn't know what to do right here. Moresby 6622, November Tango Echo, departure.
November Tango Echo, go ahead.
November Tango Echo departed Denunga, time 47. We'll be tracking 268 on climb 10,000, estimating Goroka 29er.
November Tango Echo, confirm estimate Goroka 0129.
Correction, 19er next hour, November Tango Echo.
November Tango Echo, no report is
November Tango Echo. There's a cloud kind of layered slowly working its way in here. But I think by the time I get over there, I'm already at 7,300. I just have 2,000 feet more to go. I'm going to start heading that way. I should be able to clear that ridge over there by the time I get there. If you guys want to see an on-the-ground video there at Denunga, I shot one today, walked down to the school, talked with the teacher down there, showed a little bit around the classrooms, and asked them some questions about it, and then just walk up and down the airstrip. And a little bit of culture and stuff like that. So if you're interested in those kind of exclusive videos, I don't post those on just this channel because I want to keep it flying. But if you are interested, check out the link down below for my Patreon page, and you can get exclusive content like that. Couldn't ask for a better day out here. All right, to put our terrain map on, looks like we'll just be able to clear that right there. Obviously, I can see it too, but so you guys can see what I'm seeing. There's a nice little channel right here that I'm planning on going through. Make sure that my TAWS is off right up here, the TAWS inhibit. I don't get yelled at. There's 200 feet to go for 10,000. As we're leveling off, you can see my speed's up to 130. I have quite a bit of left rudder pressure right now. If I let go of the rudder, take a look at that, it just swings right out. So I'm gonna have to take out some of that right rudder pressure that I had in my climb, and then bring my power, my torque, on back down to 1250. So if I bring it down to 1270 and just let it sit there, it usually will kind of settle down to 1250 without having to make too many adjustments after that. It might take 10 or 15 seconds to do it, but usually it does. Now we can start getting a little bit more on course. Well, I was hoping to be able to fly some coffee out for you guys today, but I guess the guys out there, because we're not doing that many flights out to Denunga, but maybe just a handful of times a year anymore, they have a contract with somebody else, so they're doing all their, they don't even have any coffee. So I was a little disappointed I wasn't able to fly some coffee for them, but next time I come in, I am going to be flying some balls coming in here. So that video actually might have posted before this one, potentially. Yeah, giving some balls out to the community and to the school there. I'm excited about that. I forgot, I was going to actually do a screen record so you guys can see the map coming out here. I guess I can just start it right now. But if you guys are interested in maybe flying the same route from Denunga back up to Goroka, recreating the same flight here on whatever, Microsoft Flight Sim, X-Plane, whatever else, flying all around PNG, I'll leave a link down below, again, to my Patreon page where I have like 70 of these flights that you can recreate all around PNG and to land at some of the cool places that I get to. So let me put that in here. So as you guys can see, I'm just about ready to head over top of the Ramu Valley. I'm guessing it'll probably clear up quite a bit more once we get just past these last little bit of clouds that are just on top of all the ridges. And then I'm planning on going through the Dirty Water Gap. I don't think I've taken you guys through that. So I'll take you guys through the Dirty Water Gap because there's actually a road that goes over top of it. I've ridden my motorcycle up all the way and down all the way to the Ramu River. Spectacular views. As always, every mountain around here has spectacular views, but I don't think I've really flown that way before with you guys, so that's what I'll do today as just something different that you guys haven't seen yet before. So looking up here, it looks like the Ramu Valley actually has quite a bit more clouds than I was kind of thinking. So we're going to start our descent a little bit sooner just so that I can for sure get through this gap, show you guys. And hopefully there'll be some clouds there so you guys, it just makes it a little more exciting to fly around clouds than just perfect clear days every day.
November Tango Echo, Mosby. 15 miles Goroka, contact Goroka Tower 118.7.
15 miles, contact Goroka Tower, November Tango Echo, and reading string 5. We're right here. I'm going to go ahead and just set up my descent down to the Dirty Water Gap. So we'll do 7,500 feet, and then come on down here and we'll do 800 feet per minute. Then I'll put a top of descent and let me know when I need to go down. I mean, I can always just look ahead and start down, but if I want to have a nice constant descent down there, that's the easiest way to set up the G1000. There's a cloud layer that's coming up here a little bit sooner than I thought. I'm just going to go ahead and start my descent now, just at like 500 feet per minute. So let me go down to 7,500 feet. This going down. Then I'll hold my VS and my altitude select so it will level off right at 7,500 feet. While I have you guys here, I need your help in maybe giving me some suggestions on how I can maybe market this so that more people can find out about these little boxes. I know a lot of you guys have, if you're new here, if you don't know what it is, you can check out the link down below. I'll have a video describing exactly what this is, but basically, just real quick, it's just a takeoff and landing checklist. All your critical items, but I think this would be such a great tool for flight schools and things to start incorporating in, like just little things like this, our selectors and brakes. Just remembering to put your fuel back on. I personally know like 3 people that have crash landed because they forgot to turn their fuel back on in a 206 because it's either on left or right, so you can run one dry. So little things like that. Somebody even in Tulsa, they landed in down in the river because they ran out of fuel. You have an idea, leave a comment down below on how I can get more people to find out about something like this. I'm really open to ideas. Marketing, I love creating things and designing things, but marketing is just really not my thing. I don't really know how to do it, so if you have some ideas, I'd really love to hear your thoughts. All right, we are coming up to the dirty water gap. There's lots of clouds down there, which will make it way more exciting and more realistic on what we actually do when there is clouds. Maybe I could do a ridge crossing with you and just show you the procedures that we go through as a pilot here to keep ourselves safe and to give ourselves more time and space around clouds, around terrain. Because just as I've started, you guys have seen a lot of my videos with Brad, he did all of his flying in Oklahoma. So flying around terrain, and that's where I did mine too, is in Oklahoma. Flying around terrain is not something that comes natural because we've never had to do it before. Like we've never flown around mountains before. So it's an uncomfortable feeling at first, but then after you get a good sight picture of what's going on or what the weather's doing or things like that, it actually can be really fun. So I've got my terrain map here because this is an area that I'm not very familiar with. And what we're going to do is come up here and then cut in right that way, not continue straight ahead. So we'll kind of go over here towards Gaston too, and then on over to Goroka. But I've got that map on here. I also have it on my small terrain map down here as well. I've got my terrain awareness system turned off though. Let me just go down a little bit quicker. And see if this is going to work or not. There is a lot of clouds, which is, I don't see any ridges whatsoever. So let's just fly along the edge of it, just paralleling the ridges. If it doesn't work, then we can just go up to the next gap, up to the Bennett Gap, and I can almost guarantee that one's going to be open. But we'll see if we can find something to wiggle our way through this, because yeah, this is a good opportunity. I wish Brad was here to be able to do this one because we've been working on terrain flying like this. So I'm looking at here. I know it's coming in and then it goes out. Straight ahead might be potentially it. So as I get closer, I'm going to slow down, get my prop in, pull forward, and 20 degrees of flaps. And because I'm empty, I'm going to slow down to 80 knots. So the mountain directly ahead of me, I'm starting to see a little bit underneath the gap of the clouds. I am high, so it's a little bit easier to see down this way than as if I was right on top of it. But let's get our prop forward and slow down, get ourselves a lot more time and space to be thinking about what we want to do. I'm going to come in and then come out at an angle so I can always peel off at the last second. We'll go 20 degrees of flaps, as I don't ever want to commit myself into a valley unless I know for sure, yeah, I can get through that all right. Oh, actually this is looking a little bit better over here. Actually, no, looking at the map, I actually need to go over this way to the right. So we're slowing on down now to 90. We'll go down all the way to 80. And see if we can get up underneath of this, over this ridge, and then it's the next ridge on my left is where I actually want to go. We're at 6,100 feet. It said it was at 7,500 feet, so this isn't even going to work right here. So I'm going to have to just climb on up back to where I actually think I need to be. What I can do is I can pitch for 73 knots with 20 degrees of flaps, and that's going to be my best angle of climb, get the most amount of altitude in the shortest amount of distance. Well, it's not really looking that awesome coming through this gap today. I kind of want to go right there. But I'm not seeing any openings whatsoever. All right, coming up on 7,500 feet. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. We might have to go down to the Bennett Gap potentially. Got 10 degrees of flaps out for the time being. We'll go 0 degrees until we get a better picture. We might just head on back down another 10 miles down the way. And we're just right about 7,500 feet. So we need this altitude to get through this one, and about the same to get through the Bennett Gap, just down a couple more miles. That is the gap, and yeah, it's completely plugged up. All right, well, we'll head on down to the Bennett Gap and see if we can get through there. There's a lot more clouds here than there was a couple hours ago when I came out here. If you're wondering, why can't you just go through the clouds? Well, you can, but our minimum safe for this specific route right here, this right here is 12,800. So I'd have to climb all the way to almost 13,000 feet to be safe and legal to go through the clouds. And that's why it's 9 times out of 10 easier just to figure your way around the clouds. People are always at, why don't you just do more IMC stuff? It's because it's so much easier just to stay VFR and wiggle your way through places. There's one, I can see the ridge over there, but I don't see on the other side of it, so it's not worth wasting my time to try to squeeze through something that's very small. Well, might be able to, but the hole's not big enough for me to feel comfortable committing myself down into the other side. All right, well, while we're just sitting here, we'll bring our prop back to 2,000, bring our torque back up to 1250 and cruise on up to the Bennett Gap. Coming up 22 miles, 15 miles, we will call up tower. This mountain here in front of me is Mount Hellwig, I believe. I'm going to go around this little mountain right here in front of me before I start cutting in. Actually, no, I think Hellwig's the next. See, when there's clouds like this, even though I've flown this around like 100, 200 times, the mountains can just, like, without any, like, defining, like, point or something, they all just kind of look the same. I think it's the next one up is Hellwig, the one I'm thinking of. Yes, the one in front of me now is Hellwig. I need to go around this way, cut through here, or go around it and cut through the other way. There's just a ton more clouds than there was coming out, so we'll see if we can actually even go through this. We might have to go up to 9,000 to try to get over top of some of these, because it looks like all the clouds are touching the ridges all the way down, and I see absolutely nothing going through. That's what it looks like. Oh, stink. I wasn't even actually able to show you kind of what I was talking about, but this is the realities of flying a PNG. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work, so I'm going to have to go up a little bit. Bring my ITT to 720 for my climb. Probably will get through maybe 8,000 or 9,000, but that's one way that I could have gone, but I don't really see into the next valley well enough. No, I see a couple clouds, but I'm not seeing into my valley, and that's what I need to be able to commit myself to go in there. Well, like I said, let's bring it up to 720 on the ITT, get a lot of right rudder pressure in there, start pitching for 99 knots, climbing up as fast as we can so that we can just jump over top of the clouds and hopefully not have to climb all the way up to now. It's 14,000 feet is my minimum safe across this gap. I don't want to have to do that if I don't have to, but this is my last option to go in this way, and I'm not seeing any, maybe a hole, maybe. I gotta make sure I stay out of these clouds right here. So I've got a mountain over here, 11,000 feet, and the ones on the left side are probably like 9,000 feet going through the Bennett Gap. Now that I'm high enough, or higher, it's harder to see underneath the clouds now that I'm really close to the gap. Oh, there we go, this might work. Alright, that is a nice channel, but I'm still not seeing down into my valley. But it gives me a little bit more space to continue my climb. I'm thinking it should open up into my valley at this altitude. And I'm starting to see, so what I'm looking at here is I see a big wall of clouds, but then I'm looking for like dark patches in the clouds, basically that you're seeing the ground through it. So I see a couple big dark patches, but before I start losing a lot of my altitude, because I know I'll be able to get through this, I could dive bomb down through that, but you're just not giving yourself very much margin if you do that. So I'm just going to keep my altitude for a little bit longer, a couple more miles, because I'm thinking that I'll be able to wiggle my way through at this altitude and not commit myself to have to get down really low to the ground and wiggle my way around clouds. I'm seeing more and more, and I think right around this next cloud it will open up into the valley and then go out. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more. The hole's getting bigger as I'm getting closer. So at this point, now I'm going to go ahead and push my prop forward and start aiming my plane towards that big hole right there. All right, let's get our fuel on. Fuel selectors, our TOS is still good. See what I mean? Here's the hole. And it looks even bigger up there, but I mean, it's still well big enough. Oh yeah, this is where it can feel uncomfortable. If you're not used to it, you don't really know where you are, but I know I'm going into the valley, I know where I am. I can see all the way across the valley, 10, 15 miles, and the clouds don't really move that fast this time in the morning. There we go, we're committed to going through. It's a couple more minutes up to Goroka. That wasn't even really close enough for me to feel like the need to put my flaps in and really slow down. But if I was closer to train and I wanted to like position myself to be able to go around, then I would have slowed on down. Our TOS will just leave off. We've got 5,100 pounds, so 61 knots for final. Our lights, our inlet is done. We have to go around and power up 20 degrees of flaps. Pitch for 73 knots. Maneuvers required. Reset our XT 740. Autopilot off for a second as we get through these bumps. We've got 10 knots of tailwind, so it's going to be pretty bumpy all the way down around this corner until we get up to the pattern, basically. Here another half a mile. Once we get around this corner, then we can basically see Goroka, and then we can actually hear them well enough. Goroka Tower Nova, Echo.
500.
This is Big App, 7 miles to run, near circuit time 2-3, and copy outbound traffic for the call.
Echo, your transmission is broken, second.
November Tango Echo, 7 miles to run, your circuit time 2-3, copy outbound traffic for the call.
Tango Echo, covered. Port on base.
Port on base, and requesting local QNH, please.
17.
17, thank you. Because I'm just coming into a base, I want to position myself to be around 5,800 feet entering into my base with my 20 degrees already slowed down. We'll slow down, probably come in at 70 knots today because I have everybody on board, and I'll come in at 80 knots for my base. So to do that, I'm just going to pull my power back, put 10 degrees of flaps in below 138, and find out where I want. I'm going to usually go, there's a little house out there with a big bright roof, silver roof. I'm just going to go to the left of that a little bit, like I always do. I just have like nice key positions. November Tango Echo, joining right base 35 right.
Tango Echo, 35 right, clear to land.
Clear to land, 35 right, November Tango Echo. Prop and harness is done, flaps to go. See what I mean? It's just a nice way to know that you've covered all of your items. Especially for people that have their own airplane and they're flying like 10 times a year, it's so easy to forget little things like put your gear down, things like that. I say that sarcastically, but I've almost had a gear up landing before because I just didn't fly those type of planes very often. All right, there's 5,800 feet, slowing down to 80. And the ones I sell have different faceplates that you can actually change out, so if you were wondering. 4 knots of tailwind for landing.
Kilo Sierra Delta is over at Goroka 2318000, Yabalu 30 and Hagen at 36.
500.
5 knots tailwind. We got a little bit more speed than I need, like 9 knots faster, so I'm going to float a little bit further on this one, so I'll just bring my aiming point back to like the numbers, and then maybe touchdown, maybe around the 500-foot marker. It's all kind of guesstimate work, but because I have extra speed, I'll have a downdraft, followed by an updraft, followed by another downdraft. So low idle, flaps up. This is my only flight of the day. That's why I spent all that extra time on the ground out there, shooting some videos for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I always enjoy when there is weather to have to deal with, because it's not like just cookie cutter flight every time. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Share this with your friends. It really does help my channel grow. I mean, I wouldn't be here without you guys watching my content, so. And like I said, leave a comment down below if you have an idea on how I can market this out to other people and get it to flight schools and get it more mainstream, because I really think it's a really great safety, a thing that will really increase your safety for a lot of people. And welcome here to Goroka. Thanks again, guys. See you next time.